Hello, YouTube. Welcome to It's Friday, Let's Talk. I know I just did a video on toxic femininity, but I wanted to pinpoint some things that have been really going around social media community, and those are trad wives, pick me girls, and kiss and slap girls. And those I find personally a little problematic, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to start with the trad wives. So trad wives, if you don't know what a trad wife is, these are like the type of wives you would find back in the 40s and 50s. They stayed at home, they took care of the kids, they didn't work, they made everything from scratch. It's basically, trad wives have the delusion that being the perfect wife is everything that their husband needs, or their boyfriend, or whoever. Okay, and they feel like this is something that guarantees fidelity. Oh, by being a trad wife, I am the perfect woman. So why would my men ever need to stray? But as of lately, it seems like trad wives are being left for women 20 years younger. This is why you don't see videos on trad wives in their 40s and 50s, because eventually the man gets tired of it, and he goes and finds that he gives up his old reliable car for something new. Okay? And the sad thing about this is that trad wives, when they're left, ultimately, I'm not saying this is true for every trad wife, no, just the ones that I've noticed, okay? It seems like they're left with no skills, okay? A lot of times, and this goes for like even the gypsy community, I think Romanishal, I'm probably butchering that, and if that's you, I apologize. The Romney gypsies, and I think there's another one. They get married when they're 17 or 18, 16 years old, and they're brought up with no school, barely, being taught to cook and clean and take care of kids. And that's kind of like the trad wife thing. I've watched videos where there's trad wives who are raising their little girls to be trad wives. There's no emphasis on the need for education and skills in life. And then if these wives, trad wives, are left when they're in their 30s, maybe, even early 40s, they're left with no skills. They have no marketable skills. Okay? And when I hear about this stuff, it's very, the way they bring their kids up, it's been referred to as culty behavior. So some trad wives, 0 screen time for kids. They don't have TVs. They don't have electronic devices, because they want to go back to when, it was more about doing things with your kids and being outside and stuff, which is not a problem at all. But they don't think about, to me, this is about them. It's not about the family. It's not about kids, because we talk about trad wives and they do these videos about how being a trad wife is like the ultimate lifestyle. The issue I have with the whole trad wife movement is that not only it's being sold to impressionable women and younger girls, that this is the ultimate lifestyle. I've heard trad wives say, oh, my husband, this is exactly who my husband what they want in a wife. This is exactly, they're looking at relationships from the 40s and 50s, and then the parent, the couple has been together for like decades. But that also lies in the fact that, that was a different time. That was a whole other era. That was a whole other century. Okay? Things were different. Things are not, that was before women had rights. Okay? I think women's rights, well, I mean, like the femininity, I'm talking about like, not the femininity, feminism thing didn't really come about to like what, the 60s or 70s. So that was back when women were seen as secondary figures. Now women can do anything. We're you know, women's rights, women empowering women, and instead of doing that, they're actually taking that women's empowerment and bringing it down and making themselves into I don't want to say like a real life doll, but it's Stepford wife essentially. Okay? And the thing is that it's putting this impression on younger women who, and girls who maybe don't have the self-confidence and the empowerment to go out there and be a doctor, be a lawyer, be a businesswoman, open their own business, and saying, you know what, if you're not the boss bitch that you think you are, become a trad wife and you'll be set for life. And then what happens is something happens, okay? Men always go for what's shiny and new, for the most part. I'm not saying all men are like that, but a lot of men always go for the shiny and new when they get tired of what they have. And if you are a man, I'm not saying all men. I'm saying a lot of men, okay? So don't get up all on me because I'm saying that oh, all men. No, I never said that, okay? But when these women are talking about these relationships, it's like, oh, be submissive. It's the old wedding vows, honor and obey your man. You know, to me, I would never say I do to obeying my man. Okay? That's not me. I'm not going to obey. I'm not a dog. All right? So, oh, you have to be submissive to what your man says and does to you. And a lot of these women end up being battered women because they end up believing that whatever they get from these men, they're deserving of, because they see themselves as second-class citizens. Okay? Women's rights and the feminist movement came around because we are human beings. As women, we are human beings. As feminines. Okay? We are not second-class citizens. We can do what men can do, for the most part. And it puts men back up in that emperor status, and then the women become the peasants. And that is not, we are empresses. We are right up there with those emperors. Okay? That's why I find trad wives so problematic. Okay? The women are submissive, then the men are dominant. The men are controlling, possessive, and jealous. And then the women are cowering. Okay, there's no empowerment here. Telling other women how amazing it is to be a trad wife is not empowering at all. Okay, you're taking your insecurities as a woman and putting them on other women. Okay, children learn from what they see. When kids are brought up in these trad wives, the little girls see their mom cowering in the presence of, you know, the man, and the little boys see the man dominating the woman. And they grow up thinking that's okay. The little girls grow up thinking, I don't need an education. I'll just marry a man who'll take care of me. I'll just learn how to cook and clean and do laundry, and that's it. That's all I'll have to ever do for the rest of my life. And then they get to a point where they get older and they're like, you know what? I don't want to be this traditional wife. I want to go to college and I want to do this and I want to do that. And they don't even know where to start because they were not conditioned to be strong, empowered women from the beginning. Okay? And the boys were not conditioned to respect women. Okay? Respect boundaries. You marry your equal. You marry your partner. You don't marry a maid or a baby making machine or something like that. Okay, so I find that's something I find really, to me, that's toxic femininity. Being a trad wife, femininity has nothing to do with looking pretty and doing your makeup and doing your hair. No, it's about being empowered. It's about Empress energy, empowerment, courage, drive, intelligence. And I'm not talking about book intelligence. I'm talking about street smarts, about knowing when you're being taken advantage of and being able to say, you know what, Mr. Man, you're not going to talk to me that way. I might be a female, but I am your equal. I am not below you and you are not above me. I don't care who you are. And being okay when that man says, you know what, then I don't want to be with you. Then you can say, fine. I don't need you. I can find a man 10 times better than you.
Hitting at the camera.
I don't know. Okay, so that is, that is my take on trad wives. To me, it's toxic. It's toxic femininity. Okay. To me, these women are insecure. They are not empowered. And there's one girl, I forgot what her name was. I'll put it down here. One woman, she is gorgeous. And she like makes everything from scratch. She's a trad wife. And to me, I look at her and I don't envy her life. I'm like, you are a goddess. What are you doing being subservient to a man? Now, I'm not saying if this is a life you choose, not you're weak and you're not empowered. That is not what I'm saying. If this is something you choose, fine. For me, not all all the cooking, the cleaning, the child rearing, the laundry, I can do all of that stuff. I can be a stay-at-home mom and wife, but I have skills, okay, behind me. If, for heaven forbid, my relationship ends, I can go out there and I can make it on my own. Okay, so I'm saying if you really, really, truly, really want to be this life, because a lot of trad wives, you get them alone and you speak to them as an equal and they will tell you a whole different story, okay, about a lot of trad wives and former trad wives have come forward and say, look, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Well, no duh. And it's so problematic because it's impressionable young women are watching this and they're thinking, oh, I'm not beautiful enough to get a man to stay with me just for that. I need to be able to cook really good and clean really good and do laundry really good and raise a bunch of babies and serve my man hand and foot. Then he'll stay with me. No, honey. Okay? No, he won't. Because he's going to get tired of that. Okay? You have to be in a position. When I talk about being the Empress, you have to be in a position where you're like, you know what? I don't need a man to survive. I can make it on my own. This man doesn't want me. Fine. I'm going to go start a business. I'm going to be a CEO. I'm going to go to university. I'm going to be a doctor. I don't need you. Okay? The only thing you're good for is for making me pregnant. And okay, that's the only thing I need you for. I don't need you for anything else. You should be at that point. My mom raised me to be independent, to say, I don't want you to need a man for anything. I want you to be able to want a man. If you want a man in your life, you can have him. If you don't want a man in your life, you don't need him. Okay? So again, I'm talking about the lack of empowerment when it comes to these trad wives. Thank you, my love. So she threw me off of my train track. So yes, I'm talking about the lack of empowerment in these trad wives. Okay? But again, I'm talking about what's problematic and toxic in this trad wife community. Again, if this is the life you choose, if it truly makes you happy and it sparks joy within you, perfect. But it doesn't hurt to have a plan just in case. Okay? Look at I used to live I lived in California pretty much from the time I was born up until 2018. We had earthquakes. We had earthquake preparedness drills in school. We had earthquake plans at work. But does that mean did they do that because, we were always having earthquakes? No, just in case there was an earthquake, we were prepared. Okay? Just in case maybe not even a divorce, maybe your man passes away, gets in a horrible accident. Then what? What are you going to do? Okay? There's nothing wrong inherently with being a trad wife. What is wrong is not preparing yourself just in case. And if you end up with a man and you're saying, you know what, honey, in my free time, I'd like to study. I'd like to learn some skills in my free time when the kids are sleeping or when they're napping or when they're in school. You know, I will make sure that, you know, we have fresh baked bread or dinner's ready. I'm talking about when when everything is done and I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs. I would like to study. I would like to take a course. I would like to do this. I would like to do that. And if your man's like, oh hell no, if there's no such thing as everything's done, you find something else to do. You know what? You got to cut and run. Okay, because that is the type of man. That is a toxic man. That man will end up leaving your ass. Okay, so that's trad wives, or my take on trad wives. So we're gonna move on to another movement that has, or another trend among young women, and that is the kiss and slap girls. Kiss or slap. Kiss or slap. So kiss or slap, if you don't know what that is a girl's dressed in kind of, I don't want to say scantily clad, but kind of a sexy little outfit, and she'll go up to a random man on the street and say kiss or slap, and he will if a man replies kiss, a lot of times they'll go for the cheek or the hand, and they're like no, and they stick out their lips, and they're like no, kiss me on the lips, and they're like, oh no. Okay, and if the guys say slap, they turn around and say slap my butt, and the guys are like no. Okay, this is problematic to me because sexual harassment. You're walking up to random men on the street, and and people might say, how is that sexual harassment? You're asking a guy you don't know to either kiss you or slap your butt. Okay? You're asking them to do something that they're uncomfortable doing. It's sexual harassment. And the fact that, men can't be sexually harassed. Of course men can be sexually harassed. Anyone can be sexually harassed. Okay? If you're presented in a situation that appears sexual to you and it makes you uncomfortable and they're kind of egging you on, that is sexual harassment. And it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman. You can be sexually harassed. Okay? We have these girls are the epitome of pick-me girls. I've seen these girls go up to men walking with another woman and asking them to kiss or slap. Okay? And they're dressed with very form-fitting clothes. And it's like, oh, look at me, I'm sexy. You know what? I'm going to get attention from you. It's the same with the girls who go up to guys and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate me? That is, look at me, I need attention, I need validation. Okay? I'm so insecure within myself that you need to validate me because I can't validate myself. All right? It's like exotic dancers back in the day. You know, people were talking about, they're exotic dancers because they have daddy issues. Okay, this is no different. Okay? This is no different than how exotic dancers used to be portrayed, how sex workers used to be portrayed back in the day. Oh, daddy issues. No different. This, in essence, is a new generation of sex worker. Okay? Because kissing and slapping on the booty is sexual in nature. They dress provocatively because it's sexual nature. They rate me from 1 to 10. It doesn't come across as inherently sexual, but it is. It's a new generation of sex workers. All right? You're giving them permission to touch you. Either kiss you on the lips or smack you on the butt, right? And that's problematic in itself because you could come across the wrong man. Kiss or slap, and they're willing to kiss you on the lips or smack you on the butt. And then when you're done for the day, you pack up all of your stuff, you're walking home, they're going to come after you and they're going to want more. Well, you put yourself out there. You know, you're telling people that you want this, so I'm going to take it. And that is where the line is, because these girls, these women that do this, do not get into their head that I could be setting myself up for assault. Okay? This is they're objectifying themselves. I'm not a human being, I'm an object. Okay? That you can touch. It's like that song Barbie Girl when she says you can touch, you can play. That's what you are showing to the male demographic. You can touch me, and you can kiss me, and you can do whatever you want to me, as long as you give me attention and validate me. It's a shame. Again, just like the trad wives is toxic femininity, it's a lack of empowerment, a lack of girl power. A lot of women think empowering themselves is feminist. You know, a feminist is a masculine woman. No, it's not. People look at masculine energy and feminine energy and they think masculine is men, feminine is women. No, it's not. It's simply energy. What is a woman? Soft, nurturing, compassionate, understanding, emotional. Okay? Men can be the same. When men embody these qualities, embracing their feminine energy. When women are empowered and strong and courageous and they stand up for themselves and they know their worth, that's masculine energy. But does it make them any less of a woman? No, it makes them a strong woman. Okay? So they're objectifying themselves, and they do this for views, right? They get millions of views and comments because it helps their bottom line, essentially, when it comes to their channel. But they don't, it's, social media is the devil, okay? And here I am saying social media is the devil, and what am I doing? It's the devil in the sense that people are going onto social media and they're making, especially women, are making these sexualized videos without a second thought in their head. Their thought lies in likes and views and subscriptions and memberships and merch and all of this stuff.
I'm going to oof you from Palmy. Huh?
Okay, where was I?
Huh?
Doing it for views, because that's what matters nowadays, right? Likes, followers, comments, donations, that's what matters. And that is the shell that a lot of young people are living in nowadays, is the shell of social media. But it's the blinders. They walk through life with blinders. Okay? It's like you see some people walking around with these VR glasses. That's what all of these kids who are addicted to being big on social media are walking around with these blinders on, and this VR on, likes, you know, followers. But they don't understand the far-reaching consequences of what they're doing. Okay? They think that when the camera is off, nothing bad is going to happen. And what they don't understand, that it's when the camera's off that something bad's going to happen. Okay? And these kiss and slap and 1 through 10 girls, what are they projecting to younger people who watch? Younger women or younger girls who think it's okay to do that, to go up to strange men and ask them to touch you or ask them to rate you. You're going to come across perverts. Okay? Who are perfectly willing to kiss you on the mouth or slap you on the butt, grab you, and think it's okay because you're portraying yourself as this object. Okay, you're a tease. These girls are teasing. They're teasing men.
Hi, Daddy. Hi, Mommy.
Okay.
The phone needs a charge.
Okay. Some men don't or won't understand boundaries, especially when you're scantily clad. Now, I know I've said in the past, a woman should be able to walk outside naked and feel safe. But unfortunately, that is not the world that we live in. Okay? Men especially are driven by sex. It's just, that's how men's egos work. Okay? I'm not saying all men. I'm saying a lot of men. So they see a woman who's scantily clad, and they're automatically going to think certain things about her. Okay? It's just human nature. Okay?
Okay.
Again, it's about the toxic femininity. Toxic feminine. A lack of empowerment. A lack of self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. They're portraying the fact if you are confident in yourself, you have no problem showing your body. Yes, but there's a difference between being confident in what you're wearing and being insecure. Girls, women, females, I'm going to say females because I mean girls, women, feminine, and feminine energy, all of them. The feminine, I forgot what I was saying. Yes, if you see a feminine whose attire immediately goes to sex worker, then that's how they're gonna look at you. That's the first impression you're giving off. Okay, but if you're wearing like a tight like tank top and tight jeans, you know, and it looks great on you, you're not showing off all the goods. But if your booty's hanging out, if you have, you know, your shirt is down, your cleavage is down to here, and all of your stuff is hanging out, then it's like, oh, it's basically people are gonna look at you as a walking display case. Now, I don't want people to look at this video and say, oh, you're just a hater when it comes to women with these amazing bodies. No. Okay? I see a woman with an amazing body, I'm like, oh, I wish I had that body. You know? But I don't look at it as like, oh, she just thinks she's so good. I'm like, no. I'm like, wow, good for her. She looks amazing. She must have incredible self-care. You know, I look at women and I say, you know, they have incredible self-care. You know, they look great. They you know, they dress nice. Look at their beautiful hair and makeup. No, I'm not a hater. My issue is here is the impression you're giving off. And there's a lot of women out there who say, oh, I don't care what people think of me. In a sense, yeah, that's good that you don't care what people think of you. Okay? But when almost everybody looks at you a certain way and goes, what the hell is she wearing? Oh my God, you know? When people, more people than not are concerned about what you're wearing and like, oh, you're just showing everything off, and guys are like, but that's what these feminines are looking for. The guys to guys walking with their girlfriend and just being, oh, look at her, she's hot. It's, I mean, it's like I could say so much about it, but it's like only so much gets through. Okay? So that is like my view on the kiss or slapper 1 through 10 girls. It's very problematic because with people who are on social media a lot and post a lot of these thirst traps and rage bait clip things, they think, oh, when the camera's off, everything goes back to normal. No, because people perceive you based on the image you give on the camera. So if you portray this image of, oh, I'm the girl, I'm the kiss or slap girl. Guys are going to come up and smack you in the butt. Or guys are going to come up and kiss you on the lips when you're not filming. And then you are going to, you are going to be like, oh my God, why are you touching me? You're going to get defensive. Like, why are you touching me? Well, this is the image you portray on camera. We are in an era of women being empowered, right? You can't, no consent. If you don't get consent, you can't touch. Do you think that men, the switch flips in their head and says, oh, no, if they don't give me consent, I won't touch? No. There's so many people out there that will grab and will kiss and will have you do things that you're not wanting to do because that's the image that you portray. So, for me, it's about when it comes to your channel, what message are you putting forward to, even if you don't have kids, imagine you had a 13-year-old daughter. Would you want her watching this and thinking it was okay? Okay? If you're a trad wife, and we're gonna move on to one more before I start talking about that. The last one I have is the pick-me girls. I'm not like other girls. Other girls drink Starbucks. The basic girls drink Starbucks, but I drink whiskey. Okay? This is a pick-me. Oh, I'm not like other girls. I'm so different. I'm so unique. You will never find another girl like me, so don't pick them. Pick me. Okay? Again, with a lack of self-confidence, a lack of empowerment, a lack of self-love, a lack of self-esteem, I can't validate myself, so I need you to validate for me. And it's anti-girl. We talk about women's empowerment. That is not empowering women. Okay? That is mean girl behavior, putting down someone else in order to make yourself feel better. And it also comes with, how can I be beautiful when my best friend looks like this? And they put up a picture of their best friend. And what happens in the comments? Everyone dogs on that best friend. Oh, she's ugly. These women do this. These girls do this for that validation. Okay? There is such a lack of self-love, empowerment, self-esteem, self-confidence. That is one of the things I help with as a self-coach. I teach self-love, empowerment, self-confidence. Okay? Because if you look at social media, especially TikTok, there's such a lack of that. Okay? It's mean girl behavior. Okay? Because it's objectifying women. It's very high school. Oh, when you're in high school and your crush says, oh, I like Ashley. Look at her, she's perfect. And you're like, oh, she's this and she's that. You know what? She might be beautiful, but I bet she can't rotate a set of tires on your truck like I can. You know what? Let me dog on Ashley so I can get your attention. How is that? It's very, very, very selfish behavior. Okay? Because you need to look at it, girl power, us girls stick up for each other. One of these days, you're going to be in that place where you're going to say, hey, we're girls, let's stick together. But you're known as the girl who puts down other girls to get the attention from the guys. And what girl's going to say, okay, I'll back you up? They're going to be like, no, apparently you can do it all yourself, so get to it, hop to it, right? Again, this is objectifying women. The thing with these 5 trends that I'm talking about, these are all of these are objectifying behavior. You're objectifying women. You're objectifying yourself. Okay? And you end up attracting the creeps who devalue women. Because you're devaluing yourself, you attract what you believe. So by doing this, you may not be saying, oh, I don't value myself. But your core belief is that you don't value yourself because you're doing all of these, hey, look at me, aren't I gorgeous? Please validate me. That is, I don't value myself behavior. And that is like, oh, that tells men, this girl doesn't value herself, so I can go in and I can just be a complete ass to her. I could cheat on her and she'll never leave me. She'll always be my backup when the girl I want doesn't want me. Okay? It reminds me of a Family Guy episode. Meg went to Paris, I believe, with her friend, and Meg ended up getting kidnapped. Okay? And of course, Peter and Brian go look for her and they find her in an auction. Auctioning girls, where they're auctioning women off to rich men. Social media is nothing more than an auction for women. And I know a lot of you might be like, whoa, you're blowing this way out of proportion. Think about it. Look at all of these things that I've been talking about. Women objectifying themselves in order to get attention. Okay? Except instead of they're being bought with likes and follows and comments and all of this stuff. Okay? I know people are gonna just completely not understand what I'm trying to say. But it's about looking at things from a different perspective. And people might say, well, you're doing the same thing. If you get down to the brass bones, yeah, I'm on here, but I'm here. On my other channel, I'm doing tarot readings. I'm doing astrology. I'm sharing what I love with the world. This channel, I'm sharing what I believe in my experiences with the world. Okay? That is different than going out downtown Columbus, stopping men and asking them if they want to kiss me or slap my butt. I'm not going out there scantily clad and saying, what do you rate me 1 to 10? Okay? I'm not saying, hey, you don't want that girl because she's just basic. You want me because I'm so unique and I could do stuff that girl doesn't do. Objectifying. Okay? And women do this on social media because they get the views, they get the likes, they get the followers, they get those are all forms of currency and people don't see that. Okay? Likes, subscribers, members, followers are all forms of currency. But you have to look at it as, for me, I believe my other channel and this is doing a good, honest day's work. Working my ass off. Okay? But when you look at these kind of videos here, and I'm not just going to target women here. I'm going to target men. Men that do this thirst traps. Okay? Men that objectify themselves do the thirst traps and try to be all sexy on social media. Not just that, but the guys who act like complete fools. They don't understand that that's how now employers have access to social media. They're going to go check out your social media and they're going to see how you act in front of a camera. And they're going to go, whoa, I don't need that mess in my business. Okay? And a lot of people say, well, I don't even need to get a job. I'm making millions of dollars. Well, what happens when you're 50 years old, 40 years old, 30 years old? And you can't do stuff like that, or that stuff isn't popular. What are you going to do with your life? A trad wife is a perfect manifestation of social media. What are you going to do when you can't do it anymore? All of these, oh, I want to be a successful social media star. Where there's, just like in America, we have the top 1%. In social media, you have the top 1%. Not everyone's going to become a 1%er. So there is a need for something to do as a backup. Okay, I have a backup. If this doesn't work out, I have a backup. If that doesn't work out, I have a backup. I have built up over the years so many different skills. So I always have something to fall back on. Okay? But I went off the topic. So let's get back to pick me girls. It's shaming culture. It's shaming culture. Other girls are so basic. I'm so different, aka better. I'm better than her. Don't you want me? I'm better. They transmute different into better into different. I'm different. It's semantics. Okay? There was one TikTok I saw. It says, ladies, if he gets up at 5 a.m. every morning for work, he deserves a BJ every day. Again, this is devaluing women. Is that what we are? Are we smeck stalls and maids? That devalues us. Instead of men seeing us as strong, empowered women, intelligent women, it's saying, oh, women are nothing but maids, smeck stalls, and baby machines. Okay? Again, with devaluing women. Dehumanizing not only themselves, but every woman. And this is the thing that nobody gets. We're so, especially the millennial and Gen Z, especially Gen Z, growing up in the age of social media. That's all that matters. Okay? You know, the thing that I find so sad is that all of these people have something to offer the world. They have ideas. Obviously, these creators that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, they have something. Okay? Whether it's, they have a sort of charisma, they have something inside that gains them these followers. Okay? Whether these followers are haters or not, they have something. And they waste it. There's a creator that I saw, I Show Speed. He did a video where he's an incredible athlete, where he jumped, like a Lamborghini was coming toward him. He did a high jump and the Lamborghini passed under him, and I was like, this guy could be such an incredible athlete. And he's making these videos that are just stupid and disgusting. And it's about, you know, not tapping into potential. Oh, you know, going to college is stupid. Or getting, you know, work skills is stupid. I'm going to be a famous YouTuber. That's like back in the day waking up and saying, I'm going to be a millionaire. You know, you can't just wake up and say, I'm going to be a top YouTuber. I don't ever have to work again. No, you do. Eventually you'll do. Just like the trad wives, one day you're going to wake up and everything's going to be different. And you're going to be stuck. Because you woke up that day expecting everything to be the same. You woke up that day and expected your husband to come home from work. And there was a terrible accident. Now what? You wake up and find out your man has left you. Now what? You have kids. You have a house to run. Now what? Okay? The issue I have with all of this stuff is that it just, as a woman, it devalues me because I'm a woman. It devalues my daughters, because they're females. And once a woman is viewed as a second-class citizen, it is incredibly difficult to have that turned around to where we're seen as equals to men. So it's 45 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. That was my video on, I guess, my second video on toxic feminines. Toxic femininity, toxic mindsets. You know, I don't expect everyone to agree with me. I expect hateful comments. I expect defensive comments, and that's okay. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't okay with it. I wouldn't do this if I wasn't at a place where sticks and stones, man. Sticks and stones. Okay? However, I am not going to be the one who's going to be afraid of saying what it is. It is what it is. You can dress it up with flowers as much as you want, but it is what it is. People don't like to hear the truth. But I'm not saying, oh, this is fact. No, this is what I see. This is just my opinion, my viewpoint. These are my opinions. These are my comments. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. That's your right. That is our right. We have free will as human beings not to agree. Okay? But like it says in my description, if you're going to leave comments, vulgar comments with swear words and calling names, you're going to be blocked. I don't mind an adult discussion, but if you're going to be a nasty little butthole about it, then you're going to be blocked. So, I mean, there's more I can say, but it's just going to be, I can't, I'm not going to say more than that, because people are going to think what they're going to think, and they're going to say what they're going to say. So, like I said, sticks and stones. But if you're purposefully really vulgar and nasty, you will be blocked. I can handle so much, but I'm not going to handle that. Okay? Because I'm not going to bring down the vibe of this channel just because you want to be a butthole. So, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you like these videos. All of my information is down below, including information on my life coaching subjects that I help with. That took a lot out of me because I'm an empath. Stuff like this does suck the energy out of me. So, anyway. Have a beautiful day, week, month, year, life. Remember to spread love, joy, compassion, gratitude, and kindness. And remember, always, you are not an object. You have value. And you are strong. So I will see you next week.